welcome to this session. My name is Amy Scott. I am a Central Otago born and bred girl. I grew up in a small town called Ranfurly where we are all related. I have had my seventh toe removed, and it's just lovely to be here. So I am just as a, I suppose, I'll get this out of the way. I am a lawyer by trade, and I practiced for it was just over 8 years really, and I kicked off in Invercargill in beautiful Southland where I worked with fishermen setting up trusts and companies to protect their quota and their homes and their vessels. I moved to Christchurch. I lived in beautiful Christchurch for 8 years. I did more commercial work there, and then I moved to the dark side of the law where I got involved in family law and criminal law. And as a family lawyer, I saw the very real effects of miscommunication. And I'd often find myself in hearings and client conferences where I really just wanted to get mum, and I really just wanted to get dad. And what I really wanted to do was... Now, that didn't happen. That's not why I'm not lawyering. Your wee faces, I didn't see the sense back then, and I know it's a long time ago, but I didn't see the sense back then of them each spending $355 plus GST per hour per lawyer to sort out how many tea towels they each took home. So when I come across this amazing New Zealand-made communication methodology, it completely blew my mind. And in that moment I went, wow, if people just had greater insight into themselves and how to get onto someone else's wavelength as quickly as possible, life would be a whole lot less stressful. And so that's what began me on this journey. I've been self-employed, for the last 14 years. So I do this work all around New Zealand and Australia, and virtually, obviously, now. 2 weeks ago, I did a session with a family from Switzerland. Everyone needs to be able to communicate. And this past week, I've been in Invercargill working with hospitality workers, painters. On Wednesday, I was in Lawrence with Linley's sister, the whole team of health professionals. On Thursday, I was working with hostel managers from private schools all around New Zealand at St Hilda's at their hui. And then yesterday, I was doing a session with some engineers. Everyone needs to be able to communicate. And so I think the relevance here isn't just for yourself, getting some insight into how you process information naturally, but also how you can build some compelling characters in your stories. And I'm so gutted I can't actually be sitting at the table like you are this weekend. I had planned to be, but we had some last minute childcare challenges. So I'll be watching all of your videos, girls, closely for some tips on how to write and things. So, So, David Dixon, for those of you who need a little bit more detail, you've got, actually there's these little booklets here with a bit more detail about the different styles. For those of you who need it. Some of you don't need that detail at all. You just need a sense of what I'm talking about. That's cool. David Dixon was the New Zealand research journalist who spent over 30 years looking at different personality profiling systems, different communication methodologies from all around the world. You would have heard of probably all of these or some of these. He looked at Myers-Briggs, that was created just in the 1940s, became popular in the 80s. He looked at DISC, similar time frame. He looked at Humans. He looked at Belbin. What's another 80s? He looked at Tetramap. He looked at the Enneagram. He even looked at star signs. Star signs. He went to great detail, and in true Kiwi style, he basically went, if you get rid of the fluff and the... Thank you, I'm not allowed to say it. I know, thank you, David, I like you a lot. Get rid of the fluff and the hype. What it comes down to is we're a combination of these 4 different communication styles. We can't be just one, and the only purpose of understanding these is just to help us get onto someone else's wavelength. Now, there are people on this planet who naturally have thoughts and ideas that constantly pop into their mind and straight out their mouth. And we can hear these people before we see them. These people talk a lot. These people are really good at starting projects. We contrast, these are our gorgeous purple dots. The big picture. And then we contrast our beautiful purple dots with someone who's strong and red. Now, these beautiful people are very rational thinking. These beautiful people will not open their mouth until they have thoroughly thought it through. These gorgeous people talk in bullet points. They're very efficient with their words. Yep. No. Go away. Can you imagine for me, someone strong and purple, this is how when their mouth is moving, their brain is working. Can you imagine someone strong and purple, someone strong and red, driving 2 hours to Invercargill? What does the red dot want to do? Kill and maim, and that's before they've got to Milton, which is not even an hour away. Purple dot, blissfully unaware. Red dot, all they're hearing is There are other people, and none of this is good or bad, and we've got all the colours in us, right? It's not good or bad, but man, if you have this insight, it can remove so much unnecessary stress from your worlds. There are other people on this planet where, as we're talking to them, they're literally building pictures in their mind from the words we use. So they love a lot of detail. These are the people, if I said to my yellow dot friend, I'll meet you at Blend Cafe in Mosgiel tomorrow at 11 o'clock, in this moment, my yellow dot friend is already picturing that cafe. They're picturing what they're doing before 11 o'clock, because they will not be late. They're even picturing, this is the whole day before, what they're going to wear. Now, some of you strong and yellow are looking a little bit strangely at me as if to say, what's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. Others of you are looking at me as if to say, who are these people? And they really need more to worry about. Nothing. And then if I was to ring my yellow dot friend, my lord, the next day at 10 to 11 and say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't make it. Some of you yellow dots. It's just a story, and some of your faces are like, I've just smudged their perfect picture of their entire day. And if they're neon yellow, I've destroyed their week. So we don't do that to gorgeous yellow dots. And if you're married to a yellow dot, there will be a certain way you need to stack your dishwasher. And that stuff, yellow dots can spot spelling mistakes from 30 kilometres away. It's an absolute gift. It's amazing. The ODT needs to... Oh, no, don't record that. Many newspapers need to employ more yellow dots. I know, Em. And last but not least is we've got our gorgeous blue dots. And these people are the tactile people. These are the people who, even if they weren't aware that there was an argument in the dining room, a blue dot is someone who can walk into that room and they can feel something's gone down. And they might not know about it, it could have happened yesterday. The danger is if someone strong and blue isn't aware of their blueness, then the danger is this could happen. So they can go into that environment and go, oh, something's not right. Oh, what have I done wrong now? And it's not about them at all. It's an absolute superpower. And for people strong and blue, Zoom and all this FaceTime and Skype and through the camera can be a real challenge because it's very 2D and blue dots are very intuitive and they pick up on the unsaid. Yeah. So we've got all of these gorgeous colours in us. There are no favourites, and the only purpose of understanding our combination is just to help us develop rapport with people, get onto other people's wavelengths as quickly as possible. That's it. It's not a silver bullet. It's going to solve all the problems of the world. No, it's just a communication tool. And if someone's being a plonker, and we're pretty lucky in Otago, there's not many. Just kidding. But if someone's behaving badly, and who knows why that might be, it might not be an intentional thing. And if we were all being a bit honest, we can be a bit plonkerish when our personal values are being challenged. We can move into a plonker mode pretty quick. But if someone's being a plonker, it's not because of their communication style. It's because they're a plonker. And we need them. Like, plonkers serve an important purpose on the planet, because they remind the rest of us how not to be. I'd like to publicly thank Donald Trump at this moment. And this is honestly and it's about as political as I get, right? There we go. Right, so...
Sorry, where does introvert and extrovert...
Yeah, so the introvert and extrovert is all about where you get your energy from. And any of the communication styles can be introverted, extroverted, or most people are a combination, an ambivert. So if you're someone that needs people to get energy, then you're an extrovert. And lockdowns are really hard for extroverts, obviously, because they're not getting to be around. Yeah, same. People assume, I have to say, most people assume that purple dots in this methodology would be very extroverted. It's not. It's about where you get your energy from. So if you're someone who needs downtime to fuel up, then you're more introverted. So I'm quite lucky. So for me, the virtual realm works really well. So I love people, don't get me wrong, but I don't get my energy from people. Yeah. It's really cool, when you have that insight. It's pretty amazing. So, I don't have much time. This sometimes is what can happen with communication. It can turn to custard or writing. And in fact, what I'll do, just before I really get into it, like what I'll do now is on page 13 of your handouts, because some of you who are, when I just was giving you a wee overview, I can see there's a few yellow dots here, and this will annoy you if I don't give you the answer now. But on page 13, at the top of page 13, and Julia, and I imagine for people that are watching this after, they will have access to the file to download. So page 13, yeah, that's cool, just checking. There's a question there that says, what are the 3 things that cause communication confusion or communication breakdowns? So I'm going to give you those 3 things now, so you have a complete picture, you gorgeous yellow dots. So every argument you've ever had, any communication friction you've ever experienced, comes down to one or both of you doing one or more of these 3 things: assuming, expecting, and or demanding. Assuming, expecting, and or demanding. After people get some insight into the different communication styles, they are less likely to assume, expect, and demand. And if you want to get really good at communication or getting onto other people's wavelengths, a useful thing to do a couple of times a week is to do a quick wee reflection. And when you have experienced some friction, to ask yourself, gosh, in that moment, what was I assuming they would say? Or what was I assuming they knew or would do? Or what was I expecting of them? Or what was I demanding? And then the vital question, gorgeous people, to ask yourself, was that reasonable of me? Now, if you just do that a couple of times a week, your ability to communicate and connect will go through the roof. You can flip it. You could go, gosh, in that moment, what were they assuming I knew? Or what were they expecting of me? Or what were they demanding? Was that reasonable of them? It's like any other muscle. You just sort of need to stretch it to move it. And you, yeah. Okay, so now some of you would have needed a more technical term. So I talk about dots and the different dots. Some of you, that would have been an instant turn off, because some of you need a more technical term. No judgment. For those of you who find the idea of this being dots communication a bit babyish or a bit naff, then what we're talking about this morning is precognitive communication. It's a study of the way that we naturally process our thoughts. And we're a combination. I wanted to frame it up, and you're all clever writers, and obviously clever people, because you're here. We are so much more than just our natural communication style, and you'll already be thinking about, like, when you're creating your characters, the different facets to your characters and their beautiful imperfections. Dots is really just focusing on this communication element, but clearly we're all so much more than just our communication style. My experience in the last 14 years, even when I did an entire day with 80 truck drivers from Temuka, who knew that there were 80 people in Temuka? Now, I'm from Ranfurly, a very much smaller town, and they left more scared of me. But it can't have been too bad, because 3 months later, the truck drivers invited me back to do a session with their wives and kids. Wow. It's pretty cool for corporate training, because everyone needs to be able to communicate. So my experience in the last 14 years has been, even if we just look at that wee bit alone, and we're all so much more, but even just that alone can lead to people getting greater clarity as to who they are and what they're about, and most importantly, what they need to be their best selves, which can lead to greater confidence. Okay, so I get really excited about this. I don't know if you're picking up on it. I'm really excited. I haven't had coffee this morning. I promised Julia I would not harm any of you. So there we go. So I just want to make sure I get as much value to these you gorgeous people. And you can find information. There's a TED talk I did in 2016, but you can get a bit more information in there if you need it. Or my website, you've got the details here. And if any of you have got any questions, just reach out. No problem. It's fine. Find me on Facebook if that's not too creepy, or LinkedIn, or just you could old school ring me. Don't want anyone leaving today worrying about dots. It's not the purpose. Right. Okay, so in any communication, our purple dots, so these are the big picture thinkers. These are the people who are really good at starting. These are the people who, as you're talking to them, they're naturally going, what? What do you want? What? They just want the big overall picture. And they're not interested in why. They go, tell me what you want. Don't tell me as a purple dot how to do it. If you tell me how to do it, I will deliberately not do it that way. And can I reassure you that not every teenager is purple? When you're in a shop, you can hear purple dots. These are the people who are literally shopping out loud. So next time you're in a grocery shop, have a wee listen with your tālingers. So you'll hear a purple dot go, now what do I need? I've got milk, butter. What else was on that list that I've left at home? What else? They're literally processing out loud. You can hear a purple dot before you see them. And within 5 minutes of speaking to a purple dot, even if you're on the phone and they're a complete stranger, you'll hear them use the words, I know. Oh, I know all about that. Oh, I know. Oh, how could they not know? Do you know what I'm saying? Now, no amount of media training, this is what's blown me away, because I've been watching this for the last 14 years. No, it'll be the last 18 years since I first experienced this. No amount of media training gets someone's dot language, the way that they naturally process information, out of them. So you can pick up real quickly how someone communicates, and the reason why you would do that is purely so that if you needed to share information with them, you could do it in a way that they will immediately absorb it. That's it. It's the only reason you would do that. All right, so purple dots are really great at starting things. They're very future focused. It's your purple dots who will complete a project in their mind and then move on to something else. These are the people that respond to your emails and your text messages in their heads. They have every application on their computers open at the same time. Any of you who are working in larger organisations, your IT departments already know who your purple dots are. It's amazing. So here's a purple dot office. Purple dots have stuff everywhere. Looks like a bomb's gone off. I can look in people's bedrooms, and I have been doing Zoom sessions with families, or people's work vehicles, and I can tell you what communication style, what dot they predominantly are by the state of their office or their bedroom. There's stuff everywhere. People will leave stuff on a purple dot's chair because they're afraid if they leave it on the desk, it will never get seen again. If you ask a purple dot, have you seen? They'll go, no, I've never seen it. 17 copies will turn up on their desk. Amazing. Now, for the yellow dots amongst you, this photo alone is causing you a bit of angst. So we'll move on. I come across a gorgeous purple dot at a Wellington Regional Council. He was so excited. He said, "Oh, Amy, I know where everything is. It's in my truck." And I said to him, like, he's so proud he got a photo. It's so lovely, so gorgeous. He's just delicious. He'd been looking for these parts for the last 3 weeks. I said, "How long does it take you to find stuff?" He said, "Don't ask me that." Now, the yellow dot equivalent manager will not let this gorgeous man park his truck anywhere near his, because the yellow dot goes, "That truck is an abomination. So unprofessional." Right? Again, so do you get, like, just on a communication style, how some friction could have occurred between those two, and the expectations, the judgments, the assumptions, the demands that they each make of each other? Incredible. Now, so I'm so sorry we don't have much time, but I do want you after this session to reflect around the purple dots in your life. Right? You will have some purple dots in your life. There will be some purple dots in this room. Okay, yellow dots. So yellow dots contrast to the yellow. Purple dots are very heart-based people, very intuitive. Yellow dots are very head-based people. Yellow dots like the detail. Yellow dots can spot spelling mistakes from 30 kilometres away. Yellow dots can't walk past a shop window or a mirror without checking themselves out. Now, they're not being vain, they're being yellow. If you have a yellow dot flatmate or a yellow dot child, your bank account will know. Because yellow dots shop on labels. They're willing to forsake comfort for something that looks good. It matters to yellow dots. When yellow dots hang out the washing, they're likely to match the colour of their pegs. Incredible. And in any communication, our yellow dots are listening for the when. Yeah, but when? So as you're talking, they're literally just going, putting it through a filter, like when. Okay. Here's a yellow dot. Oh. Amazing. Now, this office belongs to an executive assistant for a CEO, and they've got branches all around New Zealand and Australia. She is busy. She begged me to take this photo again because of the pen. Now, I leave it in my presentations because I love that it annoys the yellow dots. Because once they see it, they're like, yeah. They can't unsee it. It's so lovely. I love you yellow dots. Now, here's the yellow dot manager's truck from Wellington Regional Council. And so see how organised it is. Look at this. Oh, my Lord. He washes his truck every Friday at 4:20 at the depot. You'll know your yellow dot neighbours. In fact, you'll be able to set your watch by the exact time they mow their lawns every week. It's incredible. Yellow dots struggled with lockdowns. They couldn't get their hair done. Or their nails. So yellow dots are very, very detailed. So it's quite different. Yellow dots, it's your yellow dots who can get stuck in the past really easily because they naturally focus on past memory pictures. It's the yellow dots who take photos of their food. They have lovely Instagram accounts. It's beautifully curated. Right. If a red, and so yellow dots, very mindful of how they look. They're very detail focused. They're very attached. They'll be very attached to history. They're very attached to brands, Apple, markets, to yellow dots, because yellow dots have a natural tendency to want to keep up with the Joneses. Christchurch is a very yellow city. It matters. It's almost a double tragedy that's where the earthquake happened. It has added to the pressure of the rebuild. Okay, but the flip side of that is what they've done so far is of an incredible standard. Right. So again, none of this is good or bad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I think probably quite red. We're quite tight. Sorry, did I say that? Efficient. We're quite efficient. So red dots are very facts and figures basis. And in an organisation, it's your red dot co-workers and things that will say, well, we're here to do a job, not make friends. They're very efficient. They're very straight up. A spade is a spade with a red dot. Your red dot friends know where the best meal deals are in town, right? Red dots are big on justice and fairness. In fact, next time you're lining up somewhere, if there's a queue jumper, the red dot around you will deal with it. Because it's not fair. You just get back there. It's amazing. And red dots love rules. And red dots naturally take command. Now, of the 4 dots, it's the red dots who tend to think everyone thinks like them. Or should. Absolutely. They're very black or white in their thinking. And again, it's not good or bad. In fact, when you meet a red dot for the first time, they're so efficient with their energy. It's like they're drafting sheep on their face. You watch them go, is she worth knowing or not? Now, you don't get upset by that. You go, aha, for me personally, I need to wind my purple in because my purple will overwhelm them. And they may then assume that I'm stupid. Because red dots genuinely think that everyone should communicate and think like them. It's incredible. And thank goodness we've got red dots, right? We need that combination. So reds and yellows are very head-based. The education system really good for reds and yellows. Facts, figures, and photographic memory. Amazing. Luckily, our education system is improving. It's got a long way to go, but we're getting better at servicing or supporting and growing our heart-based, which is our blues and our purples. Okay. So red dots, they can have as much stuff as purple dots, but the difference is that their stuff will be stacked in piles. Right? And when a red dot goes shopping, I need a new shirt for work. It's not a fashion parade. Just need to look tidy. If you're in a relationship with a red dot, your red dot partner is likely to still be wearing their Levi's from 30 years ago. There's plenty of wear left in them, and they still fit. Now, be careful when you're shopping with a red dot. 2 words, brutal honesty. Darling, you know, your bum is big. Oh, no, it's not the jeans. It's... What do you mean you're upset? Amazing. And if you've got a red dot child, they're all about, it's not fair. And they'll continue to keep taking control. It's amazing. It's not fair. Case was in the front last week. Well, darling, you weren't even with us last week, but he's still got one more turn. Amazing. So I'll let you reflect after this about who in your life is a red dot. We've got a cat who's a red dot. And so blue dots, last but not least, are our gorgeous blue dots. And blue dots are people who process information through their heart. They're very tactile. They don't mind getting their hands dirty. In fact, they feel more comfortable when they are in the garden or fixing motors or playing sport or crafty things. And blue dots, so they're deep feelers. Blue dots want to be with people whom they feel comfortable with. Yeah. Our ex-All Black coach, Steve Hansen, is a strong blue dot. He's blue-purple. In fact, when he first started coaching, he was advised by someone that he needed to distance himself from the players to be a better coach. Now, his blue dot response to that was, nah, if I don't care about my guys, I can't coach them. And I believe he was the first All Black coach to use the word love, which is something. We've got a lot of blue dot teenage boys in this country, and often they're not allowed to be blue. So we need to let them be blue at home. So blue, if you've got blue dot kids around, they're the ones that love those hoodies, and they feel fabrics, and they just like to nest. Like if you're watching a movie, they'll want to get their favourite blanket and they just want to chill. Right? Blue dots need time to feel comfortable with a decision. Okay. And in any communication, our gorgeous blue dots are asking why. And Simon Sinek, who wrote Start With Why, he wrote that because he is a blue dot. So for Simon Sinek, why is the most important thing? For David Dixon, who created this New Zealand methodology, he would say, if you cover off the what, the when, the where people fit, and the why, you'll hit every communication style. And it's not rocket science. In fact, he was a really humble man. If he was here, he'd say, you already know this stuff. None of this stuff is new. I've just created a formula or a framework that makes it easy to apply. It's incredible. So blue dots, as you're talking to a blue dot, if you don't give them the why, they'll miss all the information you're sharing because the entire time they're distracted by the why. If you give them the why first, then they hear the information. So just jumping back to the red dots, it's the red dots who, as you're talking to them, they're listening for where they fit, they're listening for the relevance. So in a work setting, red dots are very big on organisational charts, where it clearly sets out where everyone fits. Right? It's logical. In fact, I had a red purple accountant in Ashburton say to me, Amy, what I think you need to know is I listen long enough to work out if I have to. No, he's not being rude. He's being read. Because if he can't add value, there's little point in him spending his precious time listening. And when you get that, because for a lot of blue dots and purples, we can take that stuff real personally because we feel stuff. And we go, oh, they're not very nice. Or what have I done wrong? But actually, they're just being really efficient. It's amazing. Here's a blue dots workspace. It's a bit more personalised. Blue dots, when they're shopping for comfort. Doesn't need to look super good. It's just when they put it on, they feel comfortable. And if they're shopping with their yellow dot friend is climbing the walls at this point. Because their yellow dot friend's going, what do you mean it doesn't feel good? It looks amazing. You look hot, it's half price. Your yellow dot friend is not going to shop with you for the next 3 months. They don't understand, they go, but it looks good. So you've got your blues, 5 minutes on the phone to a complete stranger. If you're listening to a blue dot, they're using the words feel, or I'm just trying to make sense of what's going on here. Okay, and so you've got your purples who are like, I know. And then you've got your yellows who are going, oh, I like the look of that. Can you see what I'm saying? Or my favourite yellow dot comment, let's wait and see, shall we? Because that is how they process. They want the details. And then we've got our reds, and if you're talking to a red dot on the phone, you'll hear them say, so I think I understand what you mean. Do you understand what I'm saying? The red dots all around New Zealand cannot believe that people aren't just getting vaccinated or just following the rules. What's wrong with people? We'll just follow the rule. Like, they're very rule-driven, justice and fairness. Okay, so we've got the what from the purples, the when for the yellows, the where the red dots fit, the relevance, and the why for the blues. If you hit every communication style. So you've got all this information. I'm just about losing my pants. I'm so excited. You've got all of this information in your little booklets there, and you're welcome to reach out and just ask me any questions. I don't want you worrying about this stuff because you're so much more than your communication style. I get a bit nervous or a bit upset when I hear people trying to say, oh, well, I'm just purple, so people around me should just get over it. No, now you're being a dick. And you're being a plonker, and you're justifying bad behaviour. And it's not useful. Right? And I do remember doing a session with the finance team at Wellington City Council, and this is years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I remember walking down the hallway the next morning, and I heard from an office someone saying, Roger, at our next meeting, can you be a little less purple? What a beautiful way of telling someone to shut up. Roger the purple dot, blissfully unaware. Like, seriously, like, it's just, that's them testing their theories and thinking. It's amazing, yeah. So if you need any more information, you can find me. Give yourselves a quick round of applause.